Hi everyone, it's Andrea over at Sewspire.com, and today I am here with the third and final video in our ultimate Ziptop diaper bag sewing tutorial. So what we've done in part one, we constructed the exterior of this stunning bag, which features 3 front pockets, 3 rear pockets, and then 2 side pockets. There are side snaps to draw those sides in and give the bag a fabulous shape. It has double padded handles that extend down the length of the bag there. And then on the inside we have a full-length zipper pocket and 4 wide elasticized pockets. And then today we are going to work on crafting the zipper top closure for this. And then in addition to that, I'm going to show you how to create a removable messenger strap and attach some little rings to the side of the bag that you could also use to create stroller straps or stroller clips, and you will use these same rings to attach the removable messenger strap. So we are going to begin with the zipper closure, and so I just have another one of those 18-inch zippers. It is attached at the base here, and what I'm going to do is leave those zipper tails hanging as a design element. They are very useful because you can grab on to them to open and close the zipper. If you wanted, you could sew little fabric tabs to cover them, but this zipper is such a pretty color that I really don't mind just seeing the exposed zipper tape, but I just wanted to give you that option just in case your zipper doesn't match as nicely. And so the zipper panels measure 14 inches long by 8 inches wide, and you're going to press those in half, right sides facing long ways, and then use a 1/4 inch seam allowance there to stitch up those short edges. And then you will turn that little zipper panel around right side out and give it a good press. And then you're going to take that finished edge and center that on your zipper. I like to position that folded edge right up against those zipper teeth, and then just run 2 rows of stitching down each of those panels to secure it to the zipper tape. That's what it looks like on the front, and that's what it looks like on the back. I always like to just test the zipper and make sure that it functions properly, and it does. And so then you will want to have already fit your interior inside of your exterior, and go ahead and unsnap those sides. And you're going to tuck the raw edges of the zipper panel in between the interior and the exterior layers there on the front and the back. So you have some leeway there. I typically tuck that down in there about 1 inch. You do want to make sure that it is level, so take your time. And I find it is easier to swap out the clips at this point and work with pins because I can get those all the way through all the layers. I also think it's easier to set the straps free there and just sew through the zipper panel in the interior and the exterior after we get this in place. And then once you are satisfied with the proportions there on each side of the zipper, which again you've tucked in between the interior and the exterior layers, you want to go ahead and unzip that. And the zipper again is attached at that one end, but because it is an 18-inch zipper, there's plenty of room for you to navigate around this bag and attach all the layers. So you should have your straps falling down here away from the top, because we don't want to have to worry about those right now because we have a lot going on up there, and we are almost ready to stitch that all together. But what we want to do before we do that is craft two little tabs and install some O-rings on the side of the bag. And so these are just 6 by 5 inch pieces of fabric, and you'll press those in half long ways and then bring those outer edges inward to meet on that center press line. Press that over again to create this small strap, and then stitch down the open end and the opposite edge to finish. And there you go, you should have two of those. And then I like to use the Sewology hardware. It's really good quality, and these are 1.5 inch rings. I do suggest you use rings instead of D-rings because the D-rings will turn sideways on you when the strap is attached, but these O-rings will just spin, and so they will always look like they are in the proper orientation. So just thread the O-ring on that little strap and then join it at the base. And you should have two of those. And then you're going to tuck these in between the interior and the exterior layers on the side panels, so they'll be centered right in between those snaps. And again, just tuck that down in there about 1 inch because you're definitely going to want to add a second row of stitching there to reinforce these little strap tabs, as they are going to bear a lot of weight. And so try and make sure that those are even so that the strap sits nice. And here's what we have so far. So the tabs on each side, the straps are down, the zipper is in place. Be mindful of where your key fob is so you don't accidentally stitch that crooked. And so what I'm going to do is fit this up on the machine deck and begin in the area of where that key fob is, so I can keep an eye on that and make sure that I don't stitch that sideways. And so there's a lot going on here, a lot of layers. What you're going to want to do is make sure you have a nice sharp needle. A 90-14 is ideal, and you're going to just move very slow. With your top hand here, you can keep everything nice and flat, and then with your opposite hand, keep that in front and inside of the project a bit, so you could just again guide everything nice and slow and make sure nothing's getting twisted. And so I'm just going to stitch all the way around the perimeter of this bag to secure that zipper, the interior and the exterior, and then we'll come back in and reinforce the straps and the strap tabs. Okay, I have made it all the way around. The zipper's attached. I avoided entangling that key fob there. And so the hard part is over. The trick really is just going very slow and using your free hand to make sure that nothing is getting twisted or distorted. It does help to pin very well. In addition to making sure that your seam allowances are consistent so that everything lines up nicely. So now what I want to do is raise those straps back up into their appropriate position there and add a row of stitching across there to attach those to the exterior of the bag and offer that strap a little more stability. And then I'm going to add a second row of stitching to each of these tabs. So my handles have been raised up. I added 2 rows of stitching at the top of each handle and then a second row of stitching at the little side tabs there, so I feel everything is nice and secure. I am really happy with the stability that the 2 layers of the fusible fleece, one on the inside, one on the outside, offered me. This bag can definitely stand alone. I'm not even sure that it will need a hard bottom base, but that's always an option if you're going to put really heavy things in. I'm super excited to load this up, but before I go, I want to show you how to craft a removable messenger strap in case you've never done that. So you're going to need one of these slide adjusters. Sometimes these are called tri-glides, and they also measure 1.5 inches, which is the width of the strap. I like to make my messenger straps a little longer, and typically I will patchwork craft those so that they have a little bit of every fabric in the messenger strap. So it's just a way to have fun, and because it's removable, I can just tuck it right inside the bag, so it doesn't always have to be in use. And so this strap here that's pieced together measures roughly 46 inches in length, and again I just pieced those 6-inch panels to get that 46 inches and inserted the 3-inch strip of the fusible fleece down the center so it's nice and padded. I crafted it in exactly the same way as the handles here, which I demonstrated in the first week of this tutorial, so please refer to that if you're just joining us. So you're going to leave a little end there without the fusible fleece so that your layers don't get too thick. You're going to slide that tri-glide on through the bottom buckle and then bring that around so that the material is now on that center bar, and then you're just going to fold over your fabric, ideally where there is no batting there, and go ahead and run 2 rows of stitching to attach that tri-glide to the end of the strap there. What that looks like. So the fabric is just on that center bar. Then you are going to thread on one of your 1.5-inch swivel fobs. In total you'll need 2 of these swivel fobs for this project, and so those just slide right on. They fit the strap perfect. I do like to double check them and make sure that they are functioning properly, and so that just slides down towards the center of the strap, and then you'll take this raw edge and feed it through that top portion over the fabric that we just attached and then back under the bottom of that material, and that's what allows you to adjust the strap. When you use the patchwork design like that, of course, wherever the seam is going to need a little help getting over that, but this one is at the end, so once I get it over that, the strap will function just perfectly, and I will only have to do that one time. And so that just allows you to adjust the strap. And isn't that pretty with all the different colors? It's really fun. So now with this opposite raw edge, you're going to thread on that swivel glide, and I'm just going to clean that up just a smidgen. And then same thing, you just fold that fabric over. There's no interfacing at that end, and that helps a lot. And then go ahead and add 2 rows of stitching to secure that. And voila, I have a really fun messenger strap here that is adjustable and removable, and that attaches right on those side rings. Just like that. And then that allows you to carry the bag crossbody if you want, or right over the shoulder there. Oh, it's so fun, and it's such a great size, right? Cute, cute, cute. And then when the strap's not in use, I can just tuck that right in one of these exterior pockets there. So when this bag is finished, it measures approximately 13 inches across the base, 7 inches deep, and 10 inches tall. So it really is a wonderful size that I think is still totally manageable for everyday use, especially if you like to pack a little extra. But it is not so big that it will completely overwhelm you. So I hope you enjoyed this extended project. Next week I will be back with a brand new tutorial. We are going to craft one of my original camera bag designs. So I'm really excited about that. I love photography. I just got myself a brand new DSLR last year for Mother's Day, and I have not yet designed a camera bag for that and my lenses. So that will be a really exciting, fresh project for us, and that is probably going to span 3 weeks as well. So as soon as I have more information for you about that project, I will share it. And I just again really want to take this opportunity to thank you for your continued interest in the channel. I would like to invite you to become a Sewspire subscriber, and if you will, please just give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and then go ahead and check out the description box for links to my pattern shop, where you will find my design boards and PDF tutorials, in addition to a link to our Patreon page, where you can get more information about how you can participate in my master classes and creative planner group, which meets on the first Tuesday of every month. So again, thank you for sewing with me. It was an absolute pleasure. And as always, please know the creative genius in me will be celebrating the creative genius in you. I hope you all have a beautiful week.